Power. Energy is fundamentally everything. This law teaches you how to bounce in on opportunities when the armor of your enemy is weak, at the same time letting you take control of the interaction, the options, and the power dynamics by baiting your opponent and exhausting their energy and come to you. Frank Underwood from the House of Cards exploits this law to such an amazing extent. You have to see how dirty this can be used. However, I highly want to dissuade you and anyone else from using this law all the time in your life because it is a losing strategy. Now let's explore why. Laws of Power. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It is always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him in with fabulous gains and then attack. You hold the cards. Observance in House of Cards. Before we start, see if you can spot Law 2 and comment the timestamp below so others can see it as well. Good luck.
Marty Spinella, head lobbyist for the Teachers Union. He wants to rip my head off and peel it like an orange. Why? Because I lied to him. But what choice did I have when the truth would have ended the conversation before it began?
You fucking lied, Frank? No. You lied to my fucking face?
Marty, I did not lie. Calm down and sit down, and we will discuss this.
Because only one of two things are going to happen. Either you assure me right now that amendment is out, or I am walking out that door and I'm going to start launching missiles.
The amendment is not staying in the bill. I just need you to work with me on performance standards.
Are you fucking kidding me? You agreed that they were already out. You can't just put them back in now,
Marty,
Frank.
look.
I have a reputation to uphold. I am the one that made the union reps stay here for you.
Marty.
You tell me right now, is that amendment in or out? I take that as a no.
Do not start a war you know you're gonna lose.
Fuck me, I fuck back.
Friends make the worst enemies.
After this scene, Martin and Frank have declared war. Martin leads the teachers union in a strike across the nation.
Everybody hold on for 1 minute. What's up?
The NEA is out.
What?
They pulled out.
Why?
He wouldn't say.
Chuck Sloan, get him on the phone right now.
I've got him right here.
Hey, Chuck, it's Marty. How can I possibly lobby for the teachers when Congress sees us splintering before we even put up a unite? Right. Did Underwood get to you? Whoa, Frank is dishonest and manipulative. You've seen that he's lied to us already. Wait, Chuck! Son of a bitch!
Martin is outplayed by Frank. You can spot his anger at every step of the way. Martin tries to get back at Frank by obstructing a gala organized by Frank's wife.
Spinella.
Yeah, he can go after me all he wants, but to go after my wife? No class. Why can't we just move it to another place?
I looked into that. Everything's booked. You have to reserve these things weeks in advance.
Frank and Claire figure a way to not only let the gala continue in front of the hotel, but even make themselves appear as good and gracious people. How?
Frank, don't take the food. We'll feed you later. Don't take
Marty,
this food.
you know that old saying. The most dangerous spot in the world is to come between a teamster and free food.
Don't take the food. We're feeding you later.
I'll take it.
She'll take it. Who else is hungry?
By handing out food to Martin and the people who strike against them. Again, societal power is for a large part a perception game. Frank outwitted Martin again. After all of this, a brick is thrown into Frank's house, scaring his wife to death.
Dinner meeting with Birch. I'll be...
I invited him in for coffee.
Well, drink it fast. We leave in 5
Down! Stay away from the windows!
Who do you think catches all the blame? Exactly, Martin and his strikers. Here is how he responds to this.
We need to kill this brick thing. It's distracting people from the issues.
Frank wants us on the defensive. I think this story is going to blow over. If I'm wrong, we'll reevaluate.
But he was wrong. Frank now uses foam bricks to let the story gain even more traction in the media. After hearing about a drive-by shooting,
Tyler never did anything wrong.
Frank capitalizes on this opportunity by instructing Zoe, who is a news editor, to tweet about an 8-year-old child killed in the crossfire who had been home from school due to a strike.
Type this, let me know where you land. 8-year-old Washington, D.C. boy killed by stray bullet in gangland shootout.
Should have been in school.
Spinella to blame, question mark? Press send.
Sent. Where are you going?
See the mother.
He creates doubt about Martin Spinella and then baits him on television.
That's okay. If Tyler's school had been in session, this senseless killing would have never taken place. We need to end this strike now. So, Mr. Spinella, I am headed to the Capitol right now, and I will remain there until you are ready to meet and talk so that we can end this pointless strike.
Thank you. Frank?
Look at his non-reactivity, not giving him eye contact.
You said you wanted to talk. You said you wanted to work out a compromise.
I lied.
So then why the fuck are we here, Frank? What the hell's the matter with you? You think this is some kind of a game?
No.
These are real people with families to feed. In 5 seconds, I'm out of here.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Goodbye, Frank.
You know the difference between you and me, Marty? I've made something of myself. I have the keys to the Capitol. People respect me, but you're still nothing. Nobody respects the unions anymore, Marty. They're dying, and no one respects you. The most you'll ever make of yourself is blowing men like me. Men with real power.
You think you can get under my skin?
I know I can. Yes, I can smell the cock on your breath from here.
Kiss my ass, Frank.
You can't afford to walk out.
Watch me.
I've got a dead, underprivileged kid in my pocket.
I have 2 million honorable teachers.
Fair enough, but I got something even better. Go ahead. Open it.
Okay. I'll play your game.
Walking very, very slowly.
You're an idiot.
Stamper threw it.
You're full of shit.
Oh no, Stamper threw the brick, and I made sure Claire distracted my security.
Are you kidding me?
And to think you wanted me to apologize to my wife.
You would do something that low, Frank?
I arranged the brick, Marty, just like I arranged this meeting this afternoon.
Back off, Frank.
Why don't you just get down on your knees where you really belong?
He backs him up like Martin is his prey to devour.
Why don't you just get down on your knees where you really belong?
Back off, Frank.
Because the only thing you're gonna get from me is cum on your face.
You!
You just assaulted a United States congressman, which is a felony. The strike ends now.
By applying law aid, Frank baits Martin to come to his territory. Frank positions himself even literally in the power seat, which I briefly covered in the body language breakdown of Luca Changretta. I'll link it at the end of this video. Then he starts insulting Martin to the point that it gets under his skin. Remember how the scene started?
Fuck me, I fuck back.
And at the end, he tells this.
Why don't you just get down on your knees where you really belong?
Back off, Frank.
Because the only thing you're gonna get from me is cum on your face.
It is full circle. Frank baits him to hit him. Now, since the public's eyes are on this meeting, Frank gained all the leverage, the brick, a dead boy, and him being hit, it is game over. Friends, you might see this as a master plan, but all of this is incorporated in an even bigger plan. The first 2 seasons of House of Cards is full of power plays like this. One power play incorporated in another, which is incorporated in an even bigger one. This is why planning all the way to the end, which is Law 29, is so important. Because if you want to win, every power play, or more to the point, be the leader, the top dog in every situation and interaction, it is more likely you will lose in the end game. Why? Because you will then repel people and lose valuable time. A great study is done by Jaap Panksepp that demonstrated that when two rats play and the bigger rat wins all the games, the smaller rat eventually stops playing with him. However, when the bigger rats let the smaller one wins every once in a while, about 30% of the time, the smaller rat keeps inviting him to play with him. The same is true with humans. If you let someone win every once in a while, they won't be repelled because you win in whatever it is that you do all of the time.
Poker's about playing the man.
Oh, please.
Guys like Palmer don't like to lose.
You're just mad that I beat you.
Beat me? I just had a 4 of a kind. But I laid it down like I've been laying down all night because I'm trying to let him win.
Let me get this straight. You were gonna throw a game he didn't know you threw just to prove you can bend a knee?
He'd know it in his heart and he'd appreciate it. I say it out loud. It humiliates him like you're doing.
Take the lesson home. Know which battles to pick. I'm not just talking from a power perspective here, but living this as a general advice. Here is what I mean. If I want to be at the top of, let's say, university and the metric is high grades, I have to put all my time and resources into that, which will set me back from my YouTube goals. So I have to balance those two out. Same goes for the gym. And the same goes for other projects. Now, if I take the leadership role in every place I go, my personal goals won't be fulfilled as efficiently as possible. And the only reason someone would like to take charge of everything and everywhere they go is because they have ego issues. They have an inner void that needs to be filled. Don't be like that. Learn from the great masters. Pick at which endeavors of your life you want to become a master and focus on that. As for the others, perform to the point you need it for your bigger goals and vision. All of this comes down to knowing what your priorities are in life. What I want to drive home by telling all of this is, don't react accidentally, act deliberately. Keys to power. Friends, why should you let other people come to you? In order to answer that question, we have to know the essence of power. One thing history has taught us over and over again is that the most aggressive person is rarely in full control, as we saw with Billy Kimber and with Martin. Frank Underwood used this aggression to win. Aggressive people cannot see more than a couple of moves ahead. They cannot see the consequences of the bold moves they make, because they are constantly being forced to react to the moves of his ever-growing host of enemies and to the unforeseen consequences of his own rash actions. His aggressive energy is turned against him. In the realm of power, you must ask yourself, what is the point of chasing here and there, trying to solve problems and defeat my enemies if I never feel in control? In the bigger realm of your life, you must ask yourself, what is the point of leading here and there, wasting my valuable time trying to solve problems and find solutions when it doesn't bring me closer to my vision? Why am I always having to react to events instead of directing them? The answer is simple. Your idea of power is wrong. You have mistaken aggressive action, a bloated ego, and a continual external perception of being a leader for being an effective person with effective actions. Most often, the most effective action is to stay back, keep calm, and let others be frustrated by the traps you lay for them. Play for long-term power rather than quick victory. Play for long-term leadership rather than short-lasting leadership. Friends, why lead certain short-lasting projects when you can use the extra time you gain by not leading to start your own business with their own projects, everlasting? When you think like that, it sounds obvious, doesn't it? Friends, enjoy long-term satisfaction instead of fleeting satisfaction. Get your ego in check and judge what battles to deliberately quote-unquote lose for the higher purpose. Again, you can see this wonderfully being done by Thomas Shelby against Billy Kimber in this video. Guys, if you're not getting what I'm telling you right now, I highly suggest you to check that out after this video. Robert writes, the essence of power is the ability to keep the initiative, to get others to react to your moves, to keep your opponent and those around you on the defense. When you make other people come to you, you suddenly become the one controlling the situation. And the one who has control has power. Two things must happen to place you in this position. First, you must learn to master your emotion and never be influenced by anger. Meanwhile, you must play on people's natural tendency to react angrily when pushed and baited. In the long run, the ability to make others come to you is a weapon far more powerful than any tool of aggression. You will maintain the initiative by making other people react to you. This keeps them on the defense. Put another way, when you make people come to you, you are in control of the situation. You see alpha figures do this a lot, not just by physically getting people to come to them, but also in a conversation. Here are a few examples of how Thomas Shelby uses state-breaking questions.
Violent men are the easiest to deal with.
So tell me, which brand of rebel are you, eh?
We agreed 50,000 on completion of business. There's 20 there. You'll have to wait for the rest.
Cavalry, eh?
He sets the tone for the conversation. He doesn't react to what others want. Instead, he maintains the initiative. There is a ton of ways to do this, and one of my favorite ways is to deliberately misinterpret what someone says. Here's an example from Suits.
I have to say, delicious dinner, fantastic wine. Almost enough to make up for the mediocre company.
Don't be too hard on yourself. You're not mediocre.
What you just saw is all about frame control. I'll make a separate video about this in due time. Friends, everyone has a limited amount of energy. And there is a moment when our energies are at their peak. When you make the other person come to you, he wears himself out, wasting energy on the trip to you. Another added benefit of making the opponent come to you, as the Japanese discovered with the Russians, being on hostile ground will make him nervous, and often he'll rush his action and make mistakes. For negotiations or meetings, it is always wise to lure others into your territory or the territory of your choice. But why, you might ask? Listen, you have your bearings while they see nothing familiar and are suddenly placed on the defensive. You get to control where they stand and sit. You get to make them comfortable or uncomfortable depending on your strategic needs. The playing field is yours. The options are yours. Therefore, power is yours. Besides this, when you make your opponent come to you, you create the illusion that he is controlling the situation. Robert writes, everything depends on the sweetness of your bait. If your trap is attractive enough, the turbulence of your enemy's emotion and desires will blind them to reality. The greedier they become, the more they can be led around. Sometimes it is better to let the people you come to you know that you are forcing their hands. You give up deception for overt manipulation.
You said you wanted to work out a compromise.
I lied. I have no intention of working out a compromise.
The psychological ramifications are profound. The person who makes others come to him appears powerful and demands respect. Exactly like we saw with Frank Underwood. The answer to our question of why you should let others come to you is threefold. First, making other people come to you is a more powerful tool than aggression. You maintain the initiative and you are the one in control. Second, by making other people come to you, you also force them to operate on your turf, which makes him nervous and defensive. And third, making other people come to you also depletes their energy. Robert Greene wonderfully exemplifies this with a great story. In the year 1905, Russia and Japan were at war. The Japanese had only recently begun to modernize their warships so that the Russians had a stronger navy. But by spreading false information, the Japanese Marshal Togo Haichachiro baited the Russians into leaving their docks in the Baltic Sea. This made them believe they could wipe out the Japanese fleet in one swift attack. The Russian fleet could not reach Japan by the quickest route, because these were controlled by the British and Japan was an ally of Great Britain. They had to take a big detour adding more than 6,000 miles to the voyage. Once the fleet passed the Cape, the Japanese spread another false story. They were sailing to launch a counterattack, so the Russians made the entire journey to Japan on combat alert. By the time they arrived, their seamen were tense, exhausted and overworked, while the Japanese had been waiting at their ease. Despite the odds and their lack of experience in modern naval warfare, the Japanese crushed the Russians. Friends, before we get to the reversal of the law, because hey, there are times you have to act fast and not lure them in, but be the one to go on the offense. Real quick, my gratitude is enormous. You made this channel hit well over 1,000 subscribers. All the comments and likes help tremendously. I make polls on which video breakdowns you want to see next, on YouTube and on my Instagram page. If you want your vote to count twice, making it more likely to have your suggestion turned into a video, be sure to vote on both platforms. Also, for the ones who have been asking about a Patreon account, it means a lot to me that you are willing to make donations, but I'm not making an account until we hit over 10,000 subscribers and I can deliver exclusive content and tips for you. Thanks for the suggestion though, it means the world to me. Reversal of the law. Although it is generally the wiser policy to make others exhaust themselves chasing you, there are opposite cases where striking suddenly and aggressively at the enemy so demoralizes him that his energies sink. Fast attacks can be an awesome weapon, for it forces the other person to react without the time to think or plan. This will lead them to make errors. This tactic is the obverse of waiting and baiting, but it serves the same function. You make your enemy respond on your terms. If time is on your side and know that you and your enemies are at least at equal strength, then deplete their energies by making them come to you. If time is against you or your enemies are weaker, waiting will only give them the chance to recover. Do not give them such chance. Strike quickly and they have nowhere to go.